We just got the winter update, which was the final update of 2024 for Jailbreak. But how does it compare against the other updates we've gotten this year, and how good has this year been for the game? I'm going to discuss this in this video by ranking them all from worst to best. It's going to be a little tricky doing this year's update ranking since a lot of the updates are just a new season and a safe revamp, but I'm still going to give it a shot. When ranking these updates, I'm kind of going with the thought process of if I had to save only one of these updates, which would I most prefer to keep in the game, and which one have I most enjoyed? Remember, this is a very subjective list. Feel free to discuss your own ranking of the updates down below in the comments. I'd love to see your perspective. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe, and let's get started. In my opinion, the worst update of the year was the June update. This update added Season 22 and it revamped the crime safe, which added the Venom. For the current standards of the game, I don't think this is a bad update. It's just the one I've liked the least from this year. I thought Season 22 was mid overall, although I did enjoy the grand prize, and I don't like that the crime safe was revamped. I really wish the devs just introduced a season safe that changes every season, instead of doing this weird system where they would just revamp already existing permanent safes. And the main reason they even did this was to add popular vehicles that people wanted to win the season but didn't end up winning. So overall, I thought this was an okay update, but it added the least interesting additions out of any of the updates this year in my opinion. Following that, we have the September update, which was basically this year's fall update. It was pretty similar to the June update in size. It only added Season 23 and it revamped the legendary safes, but it also brought about the fall map, which I think looked really good this year. My thoughts on Season 23 are very similar to Season 22. Overall, I thought the season was mid, but there were a couple good prizes. However, I really liked the grand prize of this season, the Wedge. It's honestly been one of my favorite vehicles to drive around recently. I just think it was a slam dunk in terms of grand prizes, and it's one of the best we've had in quite some time. Like I said about the last update, I was not a fan of this safe revamp either, although the Manta is a very good car. I just wish they would make a season safe and have us grind for that every season. It would add another extra thing to do besides just doing the season. But yeah, overall, that's what I think of this update. In 6th place, we have the July update. This update was pretty much just a fun scavenger hunt to tie into the devs releasing a new toy. It was an enjoyable little event, so I liked that, and that's why I ranked this one above the past two updates. It also revamped the SWAT van again, and I really like this version of the SWAT van. I think it looks awesome. Overall, a really tiny update, but a really fun one as well. Then following that, we have the August update, which added the Scorpion limited vehicle. That was the only thing this update added, but it was a very good addition. I really like the Scorpion. I think it's an awesome vehicle. I love the acceleration effect it has when you get to a certain speed and the flames just start coming out and your vehicle starts shaking. I think that's really cool. Overall, I had a lot of fun grinding for this vehicle and using it when it was added, so that's why I think it's worthy of 5th place. Kicking off the top 4, we have the April update, aka the live event update. This is where we start talking about the more substantial updates we got this year. I'm putting this update here because I want to recognize how much work went into it. I thought the live event was pretty well put together visually. I loved the models for the alien ships. They looked really cool. It was really spectacular to witness and play through, and the music created by Law and Reality was amazing. It was also very impressive how they were able to recreate OG Jailbreak and re-implement it back into the game. So yeah, a lot of work went into this update, so I definitely want to recognize that. However, unfortunately, I found it to be pretty disappointing in terms of gameplay. I was a really big fan of the live event until I realized that there was no proper ending. You get sent back in time to OG Jailbreak and then it just ends. Flat out. You're given a mission to get a bunch of cash, but then the aliens are defeated off screen, and I found that to be a supreme disappointment. Looking back, I really wish that the devs just had us defeat the aliens then and there. I was also really disappointed that the live event itself did not bring about much permanent change to the game. The only permanent thing this update added was the plasma shotgun, and even that was implemented into the game a few days before the live event. Past live events have usually remade the city or expanded the map, and while I wasn't expecting anything as crazy, I was still hoping for something bigger than this. I think it would have been nice if Crater City was revamped because it looks pretty boring in comparison to Rising City, and I think it would have been nice if they added some more stuff to Crater City that people have been asking for quite a while, like another police station, criminal base, more stuff to flesh it out more since it's still pretty bare bones compared to Rising City. Beyond the live event, I was also very let down with how OG Jailbreak was re-implemented. I think it was a really big mistake to not have the money between OG Jailbreak and regular Jailbreak Jailbreak be consistent. If you grinded in OG Jailbreak and earned money, I think that money should have transferred over to the main game. I really don't see what issues there would have been with doing that. I enjoyed replaying OG Jailbreak for about an hour to relive the days of the past, but once I was done, I just went back to the main game since A, the main game is way better and there's much more stuff to do, and B, I wouldn't even get money in OG Jailbreak that saves to the main game, so it was just a waste of time to play OG Jailbreak. Asimo himself said that OG Jailbreak was not getting much traffic compared to the main game, and I think making the income consistent across both games would have significantly alleviated that issue. The final thing to discuss with this update is Season 21, and I thought that season was okay, but honestly, one of my least favorites that we got this year. Overall, I certainly respect and appreciate the ambition and the amount of work the devs put into making both the live event and the return of OG Jailbreak, but unfortunately, I felt that both of them were ultimately not as well executed as they should have been. In third place, we have the newest Jailbreak update, the 2024 winter update. Now, while this is easily the worst winter update, I still thought it was a pretty decent one. The tanker truck has been an absolute blast, pun intended. I really enjoyed using it in the trading hub, and I'm a little sad that it got removed from there, but I fully understand why they had to do that. Season 24 is really good. It has great cosmetics, a really good grand prize. Overall, I like it. The limited Iceborne vehicle is excellent. I've really enjoyed using it. I love the avalanche effect, and this update gave us probably the best winter map ever. So I enjoyed what this update had to offer, but I was still a little disappointed that it was not as impactful as every other winter update has been. I don't expect the devs to add any new robberies anytime soon, but it would have been nice to get a little something, and I think this would have been a perfect opportunity to do that. The robbery that I would most like to see revamped is the tomb. I think it needs additional layouts, like how the bank jewelry store have additional layouts. To me, it's become the most boring and repetitive robbery. Many people feel the plane needs a revamp, and while I'm fine with the way it works as a robbery, I still think it would have been nice to get a design revamp at least. Some change to it would have been nice since it's been in its exact form for over 5 years now. So yeah, I'm disappointed that we didn't get a little more in terms of change to the game, but I'm hopeful that we could get some robbery revamps and changes soon. As for the winter update itself, I still thought it was pretty good, and I enjoyed pretty much everything it had to offer. In second place, we have the second update of the year, the March update. Let me talk about the stuff I dislike about this update first. This update started the trend of adding stuff that didn't make it into the season into pre-existing saves. And like I said earlier, I'm really not a fan of that. I wish they would have just made a season save. I was also very disappointed with the jetpack revamp. It's so slow and inconvenient to use that honestly I wish it was just removed. It also still lacks a lot of features that I was hoping to see it get, like the ability for it to be customized. With all that being said, I still thought this was a very good update, and obviously I think it's the second best of the year. The best part of this update were the gun revamps. They got great new models, which I had been wanting ever since 2020, and they got some really cool new sounds, which made them really satisfying to use. And although I'm not a fan of the trend that this started, I did really like the Hammerhead vehicle, and I really wish that this was the vehicle chosen for Season 20 instead of the Striker. Overall, really good update in my opinion. But in my opinion, the best update of the year is the first update of the year, the February update. It's honestly ironic this one ended up so high because usually the first updates of the year are among the worst, but this one ended up being the best. The only thing I didn't like about this update was Season 20. I don't think it's a horrible season. I was just disappointed with the grand prize. The stats are not very good, and I really wish they had picked the Hammerhead instead, especially since they ended up adding it in the subsequent update. I was very excited for an apocalypse themed season, but this one kind of let me down. However, everything else about this update fully worked for me. I was such a big fan of them adding drowning to the game, as it finally gave more of a purpose to use boats. Now you can't just drive underwater everywhere. Now you have to actually use a boat if you're stranded in the middle of nowhere and you're in the water. We also got vehicle health indicators, which I really liked, as it made it way easier to track how much health your vehicle had left, and I like that different vehicles have differing degrees of health. Though I do wish some vehicles like the Army Heli were given a little bit more, considering that they're supposed to be big military vehicles. I think the XRK is a fantastic vehicle, and it's a bit unique since it's another right-hand drive vehicle. Finally, I was a big fan of the robbery changes they made in this update. They adjusted some of the robberies. They made some robberies give a little more, some give a little less. I was a fan of all of them. I just wish they made the oil rig give a little bit more. Overall, this was not an amazing update, but it was still a very good one, and I liked almost everything it brought to the game, so that's why I think it's the best one of the year. Overall, when you compare this year's updates to the updates from Jailbreak years past, this is easily the worst one. But on its own terms, 2024 was still not a bad year for the game. Jailbreak is almost complete and there's not really much else they can do to improve the game, so I'm fine with them taking a backseat and not updating the game as much. So I don't think it's fully done, and there are several updates I'd still like to see. I recommend checking out my video on 10 updates I want to see the game get, but to summarize a few of them, I think we still need a comprehensive UI revamp to make everything fully consistent. I would like to see some robberies like the tomb get revamped and more features like that. I'm disappointed, however, that this year did not give a 5 days of vehicles update. I know it's a lot of work to implement 5 vehicles into the game and make them work with everything that's in there, but the winter update on its own gave us 3 new vehicles and 4 unique models if you count the exploded tanker truck. So I don't think implementing 5 days of vehicles today is too much of an ask, and I really hope the devs do it again next year. But yeah, overall, I think this was a fine year to start wrapping up the game, but I do think there are still a few more things it needs before the devs stop updating it forever. But that's going to wrap up my 2024 retrospective. What do you think? Which updates were your favorites and least favorites? Make sure to tell me all your thoughts down below in the comments. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like and subscribe. Use code YouTubeNoobFreak at any Jailbreak ATM to get my tires. Join my Roblox group and join my Discord if you're over 13. And I'll see you guys later. Have a great rest of your day or night.